Okay, now this is my setup to try and test out or bench test a Ford auto climate control. Now what I've got here is a Mark II Focus climate control unit, a Mark II Focus loom. It's actually a Mark II Focus fan. It's actually supplied power via this OBD2 connector. The fan itself has actually got a direct 12 volt supply. So turning it on, you can see the stepper motors start to calibrate. I'm not having much luck. They go to their full range of motion, they come back. Being stepper motors, they never know really where they are. They can just step forward a moment at a time, so they've got to set where they are at the start. So they swing their range and they come to the center. Now the trick with this is that I've got two computers here. I've got them both connected with JT534 devices. So this one's a sender. I'm sending on the medium speed CANBus certain messages to try and replicate what's coming from the car. What I've been able to do, for example, on this Mark II Focus is connect it up to the OBD2 port on a Mk6 Fiesta, or a WQ Fiesta here in Australia, and it comes to life. Now the trick is that's got power to it. You can see the illumination coming live there, but I can't do anything with it. If I have a look at the messages, I'll clear that at the moment. The messages at the moment, there's nothing coming from it on CANBus, so it's not alive, it's dead. So the first thing I'm going to do is send messages now. Simulating messages from the CANBus is pretty easy enough using this JT534 tools. Doing a copy and paste, not so easy, one-handed. Anyway, this is a message pretending to come from the gem. So I thought it was going to need messages from the gem to turn it on. So what I found when I start, so no messages coming. When I press apply and start sending a message every 100 milliseconds, you can see that was message 210, and 210 is the one at the top. And what it does is it excites the module into life. So all the other messages are actually coming from the EATC. This one's a dual zone module. It's coming from that module. So I've tickled it to life. So those are the three messages that I expect to see when it's on the CANBus. Those are broadcast all the time anyway. I don't exactly know what they mean. They're probably to do with actuator positions and sensor values and a few other bits and pieces. So who really knows until you sit down and try and figure that out in detail. But nothing's going on, so that hasn't done anything. It hasn't triggered anything. I heard the actuators move a little bit, other than exciting the back end to life. So any message does that. I did a sample message from, I think it was the gem, like I said, to do that, thinking the gem was on the MS CANBus as well, would be responsible for turning this on. But hasn't done it. I went through a whole lot of messages from the gem and nothing really did it. There's a few messages that get bridged from the high-speed CANBus from the PCM to the medium speed CANBus, and it didn't do it either. So I started to go through all the messages one by one that I saw on the CANBus, and if I go through to the latest one, 285. Now it's always hard to tell what is the source of all these messages. I did a test a few months ago pulling the fuses for each of the modules one by one to try and determine which ones had these messages, and 285 at the time seemed to come from the instrument cluster, which, it could be valid. The instrument cluster is treated as like the bridge between the two buses, and it's also kind of treated as a bit of a master, like I think the master bus is used for some sort of weird master as-built scenario, and it's got a lot more data in it than I can really understand when I do a as-built pull from an instrument cluster. So it kind of makes a bit of sense. I mean, exactly why, I don't know, but if I paste it in here and go apply, things start to move. The light comes on, all the bays come on, and whammo, there we go. We have a fan, so I can I was changing the speed a minute ago. Anyway, the idea is to try and get a lot of this working in a WQ Fiesta, and I know there's a few things that are different. The recirculation actuator is a stepper motor in this, but it's actually a DC full range motor in the WQ Fiesta. It's a 2-pin thing, so I'll modify that. This thing's fairly similar. It's got a PWM control in the middle, and it's got 2 main voltages. You know the supply voltage. So the PWM is in there, pulsing away and controlling the speed. And apparently, I don't know if it's an infinite range or if it's a 7-step speed range as opposed to the 3-step speed range on the resistor. Anyway, it's got the same connector on that is actually used on the blower motor controller in a WQ Fiesta with auto climate control. So I've got some connectors that would simulate that. I think I've got to go through the controller and actually go to a standard WQ Fiesta, so the blower. So I've got some things to do in order to modify this loom, but boy oh boy, that's a success from my perspective. The next of my steps was to try and get parts from the UK, but holy snap and duck shit, is it almost impossible? I mean, the one thing that I can't do without is I've got a heater box here, and I've split it apart. It's in 3 pieces, right? So there's a left piece and a right piece. This right side is on the driver's side here in Australia. It's, in Europe, it's the passenger side, but same side. It's got a left and a right, and it's got a base on it. But the right section on these ones, it's got this molded section which actually, connects through from the dial and turns the face forward mist vent there. That's a pivot box. There's an actuator in there to drive the recirculation, which is these funny little half semicircular valves that work to try and let the air in. The only real difference between the left and the right hand models, I think it's probably these little sleeve bits here, is that the blower motor on the European left hand drives, the motor bolts onto the right side, and for the right hand drive cars, the blower motor bolts on the left side. Everything else seems mostly the same. There's a part number down here for, and it's probably a bit hard to see, part number in there for these manual modules, and that's a 6S6H model RH3. But at this point in time, I had only been chasing right-hand drive markets, so now that I know that the left-hand drive market is pretty much the same other than this, I'm going to start chasing left-hand drive market half shells as well. We should just clip onto this. I mean, the factory manual says you've got to pull this apart anyway in order to get the air conditioner evaporator out. So there's instructions on how to do it. It's simple enough. There's a bunch of screws plus a bugger of a screw that sits down in that hole there. It catches you out. But yeah, I've got the blower motor floating around somewhere. So the next couple of steps, other than trying to get parts, is to actually, if I can't get a wiring loom from the UK or New Zealand or South Africa, I'm going to have to make this up. And it's easy enough because it's just, it dovetails the CANBus in, and you can see these resistors here are me simulating the CANBus terminations, which made all the difference. Nothing would work without those. But I'm probably going to have to use this loom hodged up in a WQ. Now, I mean, the real deal here is this is dual climate control. And it'd be lovely if I could get dual climate control going here. I've got a box down here from a dual climate control Focus, so it must be outside. Lovely time of the day. But this is a single climate control, and there's no real dividers in the middle to try and separate things out, so it's probably not achievable. Nice pipe dream. I'll investigate a bit further, but even if it was possible, I'd find it almost impossible to get the actuators on the other side of the plastic, and you'd have to cut the actuators in half, you'd have to have a divider, and I don't think it's possible. Won't give up just yet, but that's it. But yeah, this is cool. So is there an actuator here? There we go. I can see an actuator moving now, and I start pressing buttons. That's actually trying to drive things between demist and foot, and it goes back again. There's probably another actuator somewhere. No, it's the same actuator that does that one. Oh, it's doing all 3 positions anyway. Unless there's something in here, there's probably a temperature motor in there that's doing a few things. If I tried to turn the temperature up a bit, no. I don't really see anything moving. So the deal is it's trying to pull temperature values from these sensors, and it's trying to auto-tune things, and it's probably got a value in here it's trying to meet, and it's going flat out in one direction just to try to get there, and no amount of pressing buttons on this thing is going to make any difference at this stage. The connectors on the back between the dual zone and the single zone are very close. There's a few key things that would stop the dual zone from working in the WQ Fiesta, namely that this thing is telling the air conditioner compressor to turn on over the CANBus, so it's sending it to the PCM, and the PCM drives the compressor, whereas what the WQ does is actually a fixed line, so a pin comes out of here, goes off to the PCM, tells the PCM to turn it on, so that's a little bit annoying. If I were to show you what I got here, the WQ one is this, so it's not too far removed. It almost looks like it would fit in the same dashboard slot, but no, they're just slightly different, annoyingly slightly different. The other one I got here just to play around with was this one's from a Cabrio Focus, and it too has the same connectors on the back, so it will work, and pin wise it's identical to the LS Focus. It's pretty much the same model. It's like a half model in between that and the later Focuses. It looks the schmickest. It looks like it too would fit in the same cutout, but no, it doesn't fit either. Actually, I might give this a go in a few minutes, see if I can get it working with the same can tickler over here. But yeah, that's exciting news. I can get it to work. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Bye for now.